want to let you know. Oh, thank you. Was that you, Rochelle? Did you just do that?
I did,
Perfect. Thank you so much.
of course.
Actually, let me also hit the recording on my end just to be safe. All right, did you record it to the cloud?
Yeah, so it should go to your account.
All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, guys. So the recording is on. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get into the a little prayer and then a guided meditation to start, and then I'll go into the energies for the month of July, and then I'll do the Q&A portion that you guys emailed in, and then if anybody wants to hop on camera from there, you're welcome to, but just know that you will be part of the recording if you do that. And then we'll end the recording. And those of you guys who are here live will be able to ask questions or come on and have private coaching, group coaching, however you want to look at it afterwards, where you will not be recorded. So you don't have to be worried about being on the YouTube or anything like that. So that's how I'm going to run tonight's meeting. And welcome everybody. I'm so happy and honored that you took this time to be here with me. And it's just so nice to see all of your faces. I always see all of your handles on Instagram, and it's hard to keep track of some of the names I talk to in the DMs with the handles because of course they never match up. And you know, there's a lot going on and we're all just trying to do the best we can with keeping up, as am I. So it's so nice to see all of your faces and welcome, welcome. All right, let's just go ahead and get started. So first thing I want to do is say, let's just say a prayer. Everybody just take a nice deep centering breath. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth, blow out any and all negative energies, old feelings, whatever you need to get rid of. And again, another big inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Just letting it all out. And just allow yourself to keep breathing like this so that you can stay centered. And I'm going to call it all of our angels and guides, all of our loved ones, our soul team, and our family from the other sides. I call you in now. Call upon Father God, Mother Sophia, the Aurora energies, all of the light energies for the universe. We call upon you at this time. I ask you to be fully present within this meeting, protect this line, protect all of the hearts and the minds on the other sides of the screen. Please be present in each and everyone's home, allowing them to feel safe, present in their bodies, and know that we are all safe, we are all connected, we are all one. And I ask for a string of light to connect us all at this time so that we can use our collective energy to co-create our private manifestations as well as a collective manifestation for the entire world. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now I'm just going to invite everybody to get as comfortable as possible, whatever that means for you. Feel free to turn your screens off, sit up, stand up, whatever you want to do. This is your time. I'm just here to guide it. So go ahead and get comfortable. Take a nice deep centering breath. And have an idea of whatever it is you want to see come into fruition in your life within the next couple months, couple years, whatever it is. Just hold an image of that, of whatever it is in your mind so that you have something prepared. We're going to go into a guided meditation visualization. So if you could take a nice deep centering breath in through your nose and exhale out through your mouth. And again, in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. If you can, and if you feel comfortable, I invite you to place your hands over your lower abdomen, just below your belly button. There's an energy center here that will help you to keep your energy inside of your body and help you to feel more empowered as we go through this meditation. You'll also find that you find yourself a little bit more calm when your hands are here. This is your lower dantian. It's a very powerful energy center. So as you place your hands just below your belly button, continue to breathe in and out of your nose. Let's breathe in for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. Now I invite you to think about something that you love dearly, something simple, a sunset, a favorite food, a favorite pet, something that just brightens your heart up. Hold this image in your mind to allow yourself to check out of the concerns of the world. Focus very intently on whatever it is that you love as you breathe. Allow the love to begin to fill through your entire body. Now we're going to visualize beautiful green and gold energies streaming down from the heavens. The green energies are going to flow into the left side of your crown chakra, and the gold energies are going to flow into the right side of your crown chakra. Watch as these green and gold energies begin to swirl through into your body. The green continuing to stream down your left side of your body, and the gold continuing to stream down the right side of your body. Watch as they flow out of the bottom of your feet and connect you right to the center of Mother Gaia, allowing you to feel centered to Mother Gaia, grounded in your presence. Bring your attention back to your mind, your third eye chakra, and watch as these green and gold energies begin to swirl into an infinity symbol, swirling back and forth, weaving as a thread, connecting the left and right hemispheres of your brain. If you have thoughts pop in your head, simply refocus onto your breathing and bring your attention back to something that you love, and just stay there if you need to. Or you can continue on with the meditation, allowing yourself to focus on the green and gold lights that came down from heaven that are now forming an infinity symbol in your mind, sewing together the portion of you that wants to create something into this world with the part of you that knows how to do it. Continue watching this infinity symbol swirl back and forth in your mind. And now watch as it begins to move down through your body. So down through your neck, into your shoulders, into your heart center, and pausing in your heart center, filling you with the knowingness and the love to create what it is you want to create, simultaneously with the knowledge and the confidence that you are capable of doing it. And now let it move down into your solar plexus chakra, pausing there for a moment, filling you up with a new sense of who you are, both a creator being with ideas that you want to bring into this world, and a creator being with the capability of actually doing it physically. And now let's continue moving this infinity symbol of green and gold down through our hips, through our legs, down through our knees and ankles, and down into our feet. And finally, watch as it swirls underneath the bottom of your feet, back and forth and back and forth, creating that infinity symbol just below your feet of green and gold, knowing that you stand in your very own power of creating your own manifestations. You are a creator being, and you came here to create the life that you truly want to live. And it is now time to do that. The time is upon us. Watch as this green and gold infinity symbol turns into a giant sphere all around you, protecting you from any outside opinions, thoughts, energies that might interfere at this time. Watch as it expands, still weaving back and forth, the green and the gold, the green and the gold. One for creation and one for laying foundation. Watch as it weaves back and forth, creating a sphere all around you. You are a protected and most beloved child of the Most High God. And it is your time now, creator being, to manifest the reality that you truly desire. Bring this image now forth in your mind that you truly desire to make in this world. What is it you want to experience? Is it a beautiful love? Is it a career? Is it to move somewhere new? Whatever it is, bring forth this image in your mind at this time with as much clarity as you can, and allow yourself to go into a daydream of exactly what it is. See as many details as you possibly can, allowing this green and gold to swirl back and forth, knowing that you are manifesting it through your very thoughts. Connect with the emotions of what it will feel like. What will it feel like to have that relationship you truly desire? What will it feel like to live in that destination that you've always wanted to go? What will it feel like to have that business or career where you can truly do what it is you know deep down that you came here to do? What will it feel like to be surrounded by the community that you know you're here to create? What will it feel like? Connect with the emotions of it and allow yourself to experience exactly what it will feel like for yourself now. See yourself experiencing this reality. See yourself in the day-to-day tasks and doingness of whatever it will take to live this life that you know you came here to live. Connect with the love. Connect with the joyfulness. And now place your hands in front of you, keeping your eyes closed. Hold your hands in front of you as if you are holding a little bowl, a crystal bowl. Begin to see into this bowl, this new reality that you know you're walking into. See it as clearly as possible into this crystal ball that you are holding in between your hands. Again, connect with the emotions of what it is you are going to experience, what it is you have already experienced, and you are simply remembering the details of. Allow this to play out in the crystal ball as if you are watching a movie that you are holding in your hands within this crystal ball. Bring your awareness once again to the green and gold energy swirling all around you. The green is on your left side, the gold is on your right. And now visualize, watch, and see as the green streams down through your left arm into this crystal ball, and the gold streams down from your right arm into the crystal ball, once again weaving this infinity symbol into the crystal ball. Watch as this infinity symbol swirls back and forth through the crystal ball and continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger until it completely surrounds the crystal ball that is now holding your future within it. Allow yourself to lift up this crystal ball up over your head. Imagine one of your angels, your higher self, or God source creator, or Mother Sophia herself right there to receive this crystal ball. Hand it over to them. Hand it over to the universe and let go, knowing that it is already there. Watch as it continues to float into the heavens with your angels, with God's source creator, with Mother Sophia, trusting that this is what you are about to walk into. Trusting that you've just created your new tomorrow, which is actually your yesterday, your yesteryear from another timeline. Know that it has already come into fruition. Speak aloud or say in your mind, so mote it be, and so it is. It is done. And now I invite you, while we're in this presence, to hold an image of Earth in your mind, all of Earth. You can hold her in between your hands, or you can hold her in your heart or in your mind's eye, whichever feels best for you. Hold an image of Mother Earth and watch as this green and gold energy of manifestation begins to weave the infinity symbol through her like a golden thread, first starting small and then getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it completely surrounds her. And let's all take this time to send loving thoughts of the world we know we're here to create, of community, of kindness, of respect, a world full of people who want to help one another and create a harmonious life where we can, yes, be different if we are, but we recognize that we are all part of the one true all. Visualize a stream of people all around the globe, gathering hands, people from all different colors, all different walks of life, all different religions, all different sexual orientations, all different political parties. Visualize all of them joining in hand around the earth, as you weave this continuous infinity symbol of green and gold. And now watch as the green and gold infinity symbol turns into a circle that's completely encompassing the earth and begins to blend in green and gold, until it finally just turns into one complete color of bright gold. Such a bright shimmering gold, it's almost silver. And just continue to send love into Mother Gaia, into all of the beings on her. And now let's also hand this off to our angels, Father God, Mother Sophia, the white light of the divine. Let's hand Mother Gaia up to them as well and trust and know that this is the world we are all walking into. Go ahead and hand it off. And as you do, hold a feeling of love in your heart and say internally or out loud, and so it is done. Thank you, Father God. Thank you, Mother Sophia. Thank you, white light of the universe. And say thank you to yourself as well, because, beloved child, you are also a creator. You are here as a co-collaborator, a creator of this new world. And every time you are able to participate in contributing kind and loving thoughts into it, you are in fact contributing to this reality. Take a nice deep centering breath. Bring your awareness back to the room that you are in. Go ahead and wiggle your hands and your toes if you need to feel present. And I welcome you back to your new reality, because this is what we're all here to create. So I can't wait to watch each one of you create and live the life of your dreams. And I can't wait to co-create this new world together. So welcome back, guys. Hopefully everybody is feeling okay. Hopefully I didn't lose anybody there. And just going to get into a short introduction, and then we'll get into the Q&A. So for anybody who might not know who I am, maybe you're just here for the first time, my name is Christina. I am the quantum healing coach, or at least I call myself that, because I do work in the quantum field. I'm able to see into the quantum field. I'm able to see into the future, far into the future. I can see where we're going as humanity, guys, and I can tell you it's freaking awesome. I can also remember up to about 2.5 billion years ago, multiple lifetimes, and how we all got here, how the dark and the light originally, I guess you could say, fell apart from the previous universal co-creation, and how it then fell into this current co-creation where we are once again weaving in the dark and the light, which has always been the intention of Source Creator, is to imbue the dark and the light. It's not about separation. It's about unity of all things, and learning how to really live in a unified world as one unified consciousness in multiple different avatars, which is us. So that's what we're here to do. In sessions, I am able to see in your quantum field. I am able to help you identify what's going on for you. If you're feeling blocked, anything like that. I like to use my abilities as a psychic and a seer and my educational background as an exercise and nutrition specialist to help people heal their lives. I don't like to just give readings. I have a session specifically for that. So if that's what you're interested in, I'm happy to help you with that as well. And that would be the Ascension counseling session. However, for the most part, I like to use my abilities to help people transform their lives. So if you're looking to transform your life, if you're feeling blocked in any way, I highly encourage you, and I invite you to check out my transformational shift session, where we can dive in and do just that together and help you co-create, or I should say, create your new reality while we co-create all of our realities. So that's what I do, and I use my Instagram page at this point to get messages out there. I do have a YouTube channel as well, which is also the Quantum Healing Coach. and I'm just getting used to that. So I'm warming up to that. I've never really was a computer person. Up until a couple of years ago, you would most likely find me outside talking to trees. And I still do that. People in my neighborhood think I'm a little goofy. So it is what it is. Tonight, I have a very special friend, sister, and Ascension buddy who I met on my path in 2020 through Instagram. Actually, she sells Kangen, and she's also a quantum healing hypnosis therapist. I think it's called the Dolores Cannon technique. So I'm going to invite her on for just a minute so she can tell you about her. But she and I met along our journey, and we have been holding each other's hands for the last 4 years. And that's the beautiful thing about this whole thing, guys, right? Like we meet each other on Instagram, and I know, and I saw this in a couple of the questions, which we'll get to, but some of you guys asked, what about where I'm living? I feel alone, and I don't know why my neighbors or my family looks at me funny, and I just don't feel like I fit in. That's what this is for, guys. That's what these communities are for. And I want to remind you that we are specifically spread out throughout the world because that's what God's source creator wants, right? Each one of us are a light that gets to turn on where we are. And I know it's hard. Trust me, I have had my nights where I have cried myself to sleep because I was so lonely. But that's when we have to turn to our online communities and our friends, whether they're from across the world, across the pond, or maybe our friends in higher galaxies, whatever that is for you. And we have to remember that that is the community that we lean on while we each continue to carry our own light. And the brighter our lights get, the more we're able to make what I like to call light bridges. And we're able to make a bridge to a friend in California, in San Diego. We're able to make a bridge to a friend in Canada. We're able to make a bridge to a friend in Hawaii or Asia or across the pond in the UK, whatever it is. That's what we're here to do. And that's how we impact the grid the most. So please don't get discouraged when you're feeling alone. And I'm going to invite Rochelle on right now to tell you a little bit about herself and what she does and how she can help you, because she does, like I said, the QHH healing hypnosis. I always get initials, acronyms mixed up. I apologize. Really, really well. In fact, she helped me because while I can remember my past lives, I will tell you guys, it is a completely different experience when you go into a hypnotic state and you actually go and live it, right? And you're able to have that recording. Even on the days right now where I'm feeling a little bit off, I will re-listen to the recording that Rochelle gave me from our session together where I had my life on Andromeda when all of this really began, this whole imbuement of the light and dark. So I will go into that recording and listen to it every once in a while when I'm feeling a little bit lost, a little bit alone, so that I can remember why I'm here. And when I can again find my purpose, it helps me so much. So Rochelle, if you want to unmute yourself and hop on here and offer some insight on what you can do, anything you want to share, and where everybody can find you.
Sure. Thank you for that introduction. And the meditation was wonderful too.
Thank
Um,
you.
So I'm glad to hear you listen to your session recording. So what I do is beyond quantum healing hypnosis. If you are familiar with Dolores Cannon, it's very similar. It's like a subset of her style of hypnosis. So what it does is, I put you into a very relaxed state and you're able to sort of give your analytical mind a break, and we can tap into your, some people call it the higher self, some people want to call it the subconscious. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but it's, our opportunity for touching down on that and answering some of your deep questions as far as life purpose or any other questions you might have that you're not really sure. And what I love about this work the most is that it really just leads you back to yourself. Like the ultimate guidance comes from within. And so when you can quiet the conscious mind that's always trying to protect us and really get deep, you get some really profound things. And it also includes a journey, which oftentimes will be a past life regression. So this therapy used to be called past life regression therapy. But what's so interesting about the collective consciousness rising is that the conscious mind is present for this journey now. And it used to actually just go somnambulistic, meaning you wouldn't remember your session. But oftentimes it's like both parts are there. And it's just It's a fascinating therapy. So also, it's not always the past now. It's also future. It's also, I mean, it's because time is quantum, right? That's kind of like the whole point. Yeah, so it can be past, future, concurrent, present, whatever you need. What I found in all of my sessions, and I've done so many now, is that whatever you're seeking, whatever we decide your purpose is for the session, that's what you get. You get like a glimpse into that. So it's really powerful work. And I'm basically just the tour guide asking the questions. It's really all you. And so it's a beautiful thing.
I
And
love that.
sorry, I can be found on Instagram. My handle is Rise with Ro. I think this will all go in the email and the recording, right, Christina?
Yes,
Uh,
yep, this will all go in the recording, absolutely, in the email. And I just want to say, I love that, Rochelle. I had no idea. I mean, it makes perfect sense. The quantum field is everything. So of course you can see into the future, right? That's so cool. That's so cool. So, and yeah, I just wanted to, so Rochelle is a sister that I met along my way who we've become really, really close and, right?
yeah. I think I
Yeah.
was your first friend
You were
online.
my first, yeah, funny story, you guys. I still have a hard time getting on camera once in a while. Honestly, I'm a very shy to myself kind, well, not so much shy, but I'm a very much to myself kind of a person, and I really don't like cameras. And I couldn't stand the sound of my own voice. And Rochelle, one time she sent me voice recordings on Instagram, and I remember looking at my phone going, she sent me a voice recording. Does she want me to respond in a voice recording? Because I don't like to share my voice. And it was just so funny. This was in 2020 in the heat of the whole political stuff that was going on, and there was just lots of heat everywhere. And so, yeah, Rochelle was my first online friend, and we've been sisters ever since. We've never even met in person, but we are extremely close and we support each other through this entire process. So, yeah, yeah.
We really have, and you helped me to embody where I'm at now. Because I mean, when we met, I was doing specifically just Enagic Kangen water sales, which I still happily do, and I love it. But I think you really expanded me and like removed a lot of blocks in our working together too. So it's been very like
Oh, that's right. I
beautiful.
almost forgot about that because you were one of the first people I actually used my system on, that because I have a whole system that I use to help people. Yeah, so you were one of the first people I did that with, huh?
Yeah, and it made such a difference. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I will put Rochelle, thank you, Rochelle. I will put her information in the outgoing email. So if anybody does want to check out her services, again, I highly encourage it. And she and I are actually working on a collaboration to help people, because she helps you see your past life, and now we know your future lives if needed, or if that's what shows up. And then I'm able to help you. I can also see into them. So I can't have you experience them, but I can see into them. And then I can help you work through any blocks that might come up from them. Because, for example, with Rochelle, when I went into my past life, I had to work through some deep pain. Like I saw how the darkness, I saw the actual tear in the fabric of our universe, and when the darkness came into this universe, and I saw the intention behind it, and it was very emotional. So of course, there's emotions that can come up with this kind of thing. So feel free to check out both of us, and just know that we will be offering a collaboration at some point. We're just still working on the specifics of it. So, okay, all of that said, let's talk about what's going on. Oh my gosh, because it is so intense right now. July is big, you guys. I know we're in the 7/7 portal. This is why we did the manifestation meditation. But it's interesting because the song that has been playing in my head for days has been that old song by Nelly. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. That has been in my head for days, and I don't listen to music. So when I get songs in my head, it's usually because my higher self or my team puts it there for a reason. There's usually a specific line or a meaning. So if you ever get songs in your head, I invite you to look up the lyrics, because there's always something behind it. And that's exactly what July is going to bring you guys. This month, it's like going to be things like popping off, where it's like boom, boom, like literal fireworks, right? And those of you who are in the US know that we just had, of course, 4th of July, where we had fireworks. And that's kind of a representation of what July is going to look like. But this is the kickoff for the rest of the year, meaning we're going to begin to see things that we're going to watch play out for the next 6 months. And that has to do with why we just had the 7/7 portal. And of course, right now, we are in a triad of three specific, not necessarily planets. I know one is the black moon in Lilith, which means I think if I understand it correctly, the moon is at a very far point, which is also causing our like darknesses, our wounds to come up, and then something about a planet named Cygna, and then Pluto, and all of them are specifically positioned in a way that they are really causing us to have to go deep. So don't be surprised if you're having shameful feelings, anger, depression, all this kind of stuff. It may have started the end of last week and specifically over this last weekend. I know a lot of people were reaching out to me saying, I can't get these thoughts out of my head. I'm feeling all this shameful stuff. I'm really pissed off and I don't know why. Or maybe you're just so depressed you can't get out of bed. Maybe you're questioning everything that you're doing. And this is because this specific triad of planets and a moon, what they do is they cause us to go deep inside of ourselves. Planets, the way and I did a whole class on this, planets and moons, the way it works is they are their own consciousness, right? So planets, moons, everything out there, just like Earth is the consciousness, they too are a consciousness. And when they are in specific positions, they begin to align in ways that influence the very energies that come into Earth. And when I say that, I mean the positive, negative, and neutral charges. And they bring in female representations, male representations of energies. Female representations, of course, help us to have these amazing ideas of what we're going to do. And then the male energies basically cause us to feel like, well, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And right now we're having what's being shown to me a dive into our female, let's just say, our female insecurities, meaning maybe you want to do something in your life, but you're just not sure if it's right. Maybe you're healing some deep trauma wounds from your past, and you're not sure if you're worthy of getting to the other side of it. Maybe you're in a job, a career, or relationship where you're just feeling like you're not sure if you're enough. So that's going to be coming in while simultaneously this agitation of, I've got to do this, I've got to get this done, I've got to do this, right? And that's how these energies are affecting us right now. And this is going to be pretty much on and off throughout the month of July. These energies, the way they're going to impact us on a personal level, are going to cause us to feel like we have to, we want to do something. You might have some amazing ideas and you might meet some amazing people. And that's great. But then also we're going to want to create it. So that's going to be where we have to lay the foundation, lay the tracks. And so we need to really work on combining our male and female. That's why I did that in that meditation, so that we can focus on what we're here to create and lay the tracks of what it is we're actually here to create. So this month is going to be all about finding that balance for yourself. And some days it might be a little bit hard to find that balance, and that's okay. And you might be finding yourselves in experiences like maybe your relationship, your job, whatever it is, where you're like, I just can't take it anymore. This isn't for me. This isn't where I want to be. And while I know that can be frustrating and infuriating and depressing and all of that, remember, guys, that is the first step in manifestation. We have to know what we don't want so that we can be guided to what we do want. And so many of us here on Earth have been conditioned and programmed to live in situations that we don't necessarily want to be in. But we've been guilted, we've been shamed, we've been, I've got to keep up with the Joneses. I've got to have this fancy car, this fancy house. I've got to look good in front of my friends and family. We've been conditioned to have this mask up that we're going to begin to take off. And that's why it's getting hot in here. So take off all of your clothes. That is what my guides were showing me, is taking off of those masks. So it's time to let those masks fall off. And here's the thing is, if you're not going to let them fall off, then something's going to happen where they're going to have to fall off, because your higher self isn't going to want to have it anymore. And that's where we're headed. We are really on the precipice of the reset that so many people have wanted for so long. We are there. Now, it's going to take a time for everything to work its way into the physical, but we are in the beginning stages of it. And we're going to see that also playing out on a macro level, meaning we're going to start to see things really begin to boil over within the political structures, the education structures, the medical structures. You might even see more COVID stuff coming up. You're going to see all of this stuff playing up again, because let's just say those who wish to be in control don't want us to take back our consciousness. And those who are in those structures, who are the good guys, right? We all know that there's light and dark and everything. They're basically in there imbuing it with the light, as are we when we focus on prayer and manifestation to create. So all of that work that you're doing of sending in those positive energies and staying out of those debating type conversations, all of that work that you're doing is going to be shifting the energies so that in those systems, we begin to see the light come on. But just like I always like to say to people in my sessions, you know, it's just like when we turn the light on in a room. If you ever lived down south in America, you know, when you turn the light on in a room that you haven't been in a long time, that doesn't have AC in it, you're likely going to see cockroaches fly out everywhere. And that's kind of like what we're going to see, because as the lights get turned on within these structures, we're going to see the underbelly, the cockroaches of things that we do not want to see, but we have to. Most of us here are probably well aware of the deeper truths of what goes on in this reality. The people who are still very much asleep and very much programmed into this reality and just not aware are going to be a little bit shocked. They're going to be emotional. They're going to be going through what probably some of you guys went through back in 2020 or prior, depending on when you first came into your enlightenment. And I know for me personally, when I learned about the depths of the human trafficking, when I learned about the depths of what really happens in this world on the many layers and the many dimensions, guys, it brought me to my knees. And I'm able to see this stuff. And I've always had a pretty decent handle on being able to see hard stuff. Years ago, I used to work within the system, helping children get out of abuse situations. So I've seen a lot of awful things. All of that said, I was not emotionally prepared for what I learned. And I know I fell to my knees, and for at least 3 months, I was deeply depressed, could barely get out of bed. I was angry. I was pissed off. I wanted to take my own life because I was like, how can a God do this? So remember, while those of us who are here now are likely aware of the deeper truths, and we've had time to process it, and we've had time to get to the other side of it and recognize our role to play in all of this, and we know how the whole hierarchy of the dimensions work, and that there is really a plan here. Those people waking up, they've got no idea. They've got no idea. And so it could turn into a little bit of a shit show out there, with people working through their own emotions and then walking around feeling lost and feeling alone. So again, I always say in my posts, make sure you're setting good boundaries, hold compassion for other people. And remember, if you see somebody out there who's just acting a fool, maybe they're just having a bad day because maybe they just learned some deeper truth last night. Maybe they were going down those rabbit holes until 3 a.m. like you guys probably all were years ago. So give them some space, give them some grace. Make sure you hold your boundaries and just love yourself. Just love on yourself a little deeper, a little bit more. Love on them a little deeper, a little bit more, but with a strict boundary in place. And remember that this is part of the process. We're even going to see probably people begin to, let's just say, pass away and reincarnate, because there's going to be people, souls, who are saying, you know what, this is where I check out. And this is where we're going to begin to see the events from, let's just say, creator play out, where not everybody was intended to make it through this entire process. We're not supposed to, right? We know that we're souls having a human experience. It's not the other way around. So they're going back into their soul form so that they can reincarnate into their human form and basically start fresh, because they realize, the soul likely will realize, that it's just too much for them to go through with the unconditioning, the deprogramming. And I know all of you guys probably know what I mean by that, because it can be really painful. So be aware of that. COVID will likely be playing its little ugly head again. And, you know, that is a frequency illness. I know a lot of people have this misconception that it's a virus. That is a bunch of crap. I have been shown by the Most High, and I know that there are many doctors out there, and I can recommend sources if anybody wants to look into it. They never even isolated a virus. What it is, in fact, is it's it's all of this crap that we absorb from our airs, from our food, from the schmack from all of that we've all absorbed for however long we've each have been here. And there's heavy metals, there's stuff in it, and it gets into our body. And basically it slows down our lymphatic system. It creates like weighs down our cells. So as these light codes are coming in, as we're receiving these very transformative energies, and our cells are going into this rapid cellular regeneration process, because that's what you're feeling when you feel like crap, is your body is regenerating at a faster rate. Well, the body can't regenerate at that faster rate because it's bogged down with heavy metals, with toxins, and all of this stuff. And then on top of it, we're working through emotions, and emotions are stored in the body. Energies in motion that are not in motion anymore because they got blocked, whether they got blocked or they got trapped because we denied ourselves feeling what we needed to feel, right? So that is what actually causes the illness. The cells can't regenerate. And then when they do, there's so much toxins coming out of them that the body has to begin to produce an overload of mucus so that it can get everything out of itself. So that is really what COVID is. And then, of course, they fire up those little towers that we know about to blast specific frequencies in specific areas. That is what happened back in 2020. So this is all very true. This is what's been shown to me by the divine. I've also done the science research to back it up. So I know this to be true. The most beneficial thing you can do for yourself is to keep your lymphatic drainage system moving. Stay hydrated. Eat an alkaline-based diet, meaning, higher electricity foods, fruit, vegetables, that kind of thing. If you eat meat, you want to make sure it's clean source meat. And even for people who are big eaters, and I have nothing against eating meat, some people have to, I would recommend only like once a day so that way you're not bogging down your system. Make sure it's not from one of those farms that vaccinates with that new RNA vaccine that they're vaccinating animals with, because that is in fact a true thing that they're doing. And something that's shown to me by the divine for specific diets is combining blood type nutrition with a high alkaline diet and intermittent fasting. So look up your blood type, find out what your blood type is, eat based on your blood type. You can buy, there's a little book you can buy on Amazon that's like the blood type pocket guide. And it literally says, meats, eat this, don't eat that. Vegetables, eat this, don't eat that. Follow those guidelines and then pick the most alkaline foods, high electrical foods for your body. That's how you're going to keep your charge up. And the reason why blood type nutrition has been shown to me by the divine is because your blood is your life force energy. What is the spirit? Spirit is the breath. Many people don't realize this, but in the ancient texts, the words spirit and breath are actually synonymous. They mean the same exact thing. Vocabulary is another thing that has been used to weaponize us, to lower our mind's consciousness and awareness. So every time you're breathing in spirit, which is why breath work is so, so important. And anytime you're stressed, the best thing you can do is breathe. That being said, that very air goes into your red blood cells, and that is what distributes the nutrients to your entire body. Blood type nutrition is based on the viscosity or the thickness of your blood. Viscosity is very important when we're talking about receiving these energies and allowing our body to stay in an alkaline state. The best way I can explain it to you is like if you had a diesel truck, you wouldn't put in 87 gas and expect it to operate because it would cause the engine to not work properly. That's basically what happens in your body. So blood type nutrition is the best route to go, combining with intermittent fasting as well as high alkaline. And yeah, that's pretty much it for July. I think that kind of sums it up. July is going to be pretty intense. The solar flares will be picking back up what I've been shown by the end of the month. So maybe we'll have a spout of higher M and X class flares mid to the second into the third. I'm seeing more third into the fourth week of the month. But we're getting a little bit of a break now because of how the the planets are aligned. And this is all divinely guided, whether we want to think it is or not. I mean, who makes the sunrise every day? What makes the moon go around the earth? Who makes all of this stuff happen? It's the divine energies that we can't see. And that's literally what the word divinity or divine means, is trusting in that of what you cannot see and knowing that's possible. So there is, in fact, a source, a divine guidance at the steering wheel, even though we may not feel like they're there sometimes. We have to remember that we have to be at the steering wheels of our own life. If you're feeling called to move and you know you have to get out of that place, it's time to move. If you want to get out of that job and you're feeling like you want to start that business, it's time. If you want to tell that person you love them, tell them. If you want to leave that relationship, it's time. And maybe if you're not ready just now, it's time to start planting the seeds to how you're going to do it, to making those next steps through daydreaming, through researching, through writing in your journal about the conversations you need to have, so that when you do feel ready, you are prepared on the inside, and you have basically kind of like a plan in place. That's basically how you manifest this stuff, right? Set your intentions for what you want to do, have a basic guideline for how you're going to do it, and then proceed and move forward. And remember that we co-create the new earth by creating our own lives. There's no spaceships coming to save us. Oh, this is one of my biggest pet peeves I get sometimes in session, and it breaks my heart. And people will come to me because they're following these pages and they're like, when are the ETs going to come save us? Guys, we are the ETs. First of all, the ETs are literally stacked in your DNA. You have the access to the higher dimensions. You are the ETs. We all are. We have multiple genes in us that are not human. We have access to those consciousnesses, and that's why we are here. It is your job to go inside, access those higher states of consciousness, and then allow yourself to imbue them into your body, meaning this is how you get your channeled insights. This is how you get your downloads. This is how you're like, I just have this idea of how I'm going to help 100 people, and I'm going to go do it right now. That is you as an ET form that's in a higher state of consciousness that's communicating to you in this avatar. So it gets a little bit more complex than that, but just remember, you co-create New Earth by creating the life that you want. And it's time. It's time. It's time that we get out of our own ways and do the damn thing. That's pretty much it. So that is July. I'm going to get into the questions that came in via email at this point, unless, did any specific questions come in through the chat, Rochelle? Anything that, no? Okay. Guys, feel free to post questions in the chat about anything I just said, and I'm going to look at the questions that came in through the email. Forgive me while I drink this is my one like vice. I love my decaf iced mocha lattes. They literally know my name in this local coffee shop that I go to at this point. It's pretty sad. That's my outing every day is I take my dog out to the park and I get my my decaf iced mocha latte with oat milk and whipped cream. So if you ever see me out somewhere and you want to get me something, that's what you can get me because I absolutely love it. It keeps me sane, literally keeps me sane. Okay, so I'm just going to read through the questions. I'm not religious, but confused ever since I became more spiritual. I now believe in Christ consciousness, so now I'm wondering if we have it all wrong. God is within us, not separate, right? Also, we all have access to psychic powers, but when we trust in our intuition, right? How do we know if it is our intuition or our inner voice? Okay, this is a great question. And I organized the questions based on what was most pertinent to everybody in the group. So if you asked a personal question, that will be at the bottom. So we'll get to those as much as we can, but I wanted to do questions that I knew would impact the group the most. Religious and confused, I get it. First of all, I remember years ago when I started to learn about ETs and I was like, well, wait, where do angels come in? And what are ETs and how are angels and how does it all work together? Well, it's all technically the same. The way I like to look at it, the way it's shown to me now is to some degree, angels are ETs. Because what are ETs? ETs are extraterrestrials. They're not of this terrain. You know, we like to put it as humans, we like to put everything into categories, but it's really much more simplistic than that. Everything is a greater part of the whole. It just depends on where the physicality of that being lives within its own dimensional density awareness, meaning we have multiple dimensions, but within these dimensions, we have one density. So we're on the third density, but we're going up into fifth, sixth, seventh, and even eighth. And then some people are even up into the ninth and the 10th dimensional awareness, which is basically what you're able to be aware of. It's your dimension. When you're in your living room, you're in one dimension. When you're in your bedroom, you're in another dimension, but you're always in your house. That is the best way to look at it. There are multiple dimensions layered in one density. Nobody's leaving any density. It's so important to know that. We're not going to click poof and go somewhere. You might have a different dimensional awareness than the person next to you, which will allow you to see multiple viewpoints, which will allow you to see things on deeper levels. But you're going to always be in the same density. You're going to be in the same house, just in a different room. And it's important to remember that. And it's the same thing when it comes to angels and ETs, right? Angels are at a very, very high, closest to God, density with a very high dimensional awareness. When we saw the auroras back in May, those were angels. Those angels are basically like gaseous type clouds, and then when they form themselves, we're able to see them in multiple shapes. They show up as they can show up as beings if they want to. For the most part, when I'm shown them, they look kind of like these winged beings. They're called, some people call them seraphim angels. There's like a bunch of wings and a bunch of eyes, or you might see dragons. Whales can be considered angels. They hold such a high frequency. They don't speak our language, they speak in frequency. And that's why when we had those aurora lights come through the earth, those were angelic energies that were actually pouring into our reality. And that's why you might have noticed things really started to shift since then. That's what that was. So angels are more gaseous, less physical. They're very, very high in their density. And then you have multiple densities with multiple dimensions in each density. When it comes to ETs can be in multiple, it depends. I mean, we have the Arcturians, which as I know are very, very high, anywhere from 12 to 10 to 12 density. The Andromedans are about the same, even up into the 13th and 14th. So it really depends on where they choose to reside. When you get to that point and you're able to manipulate your own being, you can be anywhere you want to be. But it's not about if there are one or the other. It's more about that they're just all kind of the same. It's us as humans who have to put words on everything, that are trying to put things in a box, and you can't put them in a box. It's funny, God actually said to me, I was listening to something, a medical report where they were trying to, I was reading a medical report where they were trying to identify where the soul is in the house. And God said to me, you can't put me in a box. It doesn't work that way. So it was just kind of funny. And that's the best way to put it. You can't put any of this in a box. It doesn't work that way. And she asked, no, you don't have it wrong. It's just a little bit more, I would say it's actually more simplistic than we thought that it was. So just try to think in non-definitives is the best way I could put it. Is God within us? Yes, God is within you, in the sense that God is in everything. God is the energy that is in between the particles in this pen. God is the energy that is in between the cellular structure within me. God is the energy that is within each and every single one of you. You could look at it as the morphogenetic field, or the fields of everything. There is one source that provides life for everything. And at that source, as it's been shown to me, which is multiple suns away, because we have multiple suns, and then we have one central sun that feeds all of them source energy. In that very life place force, there's two things. There's a black sun, but then when you go beyond the black sun, there's just this white ball of energy that is providing and pulsating out neutrinos. And I mean, we don't even have words for it, so it would be just insulting to God to even try to make any. But it's pulsating out energies into what's creating the black sun, and then the black sun is then absorbing and pushing things out into everything. But God is everything. God is the very particles, the air that you're breathing in that gets into your bloodstream. God is in everything. And God is always there to support you. God can morph itself into anything. So God can speak to you through trees. God can speak to you through animals. God is also what some people would call Sophia. Sophia would be the feminine. So God, as we know it, the Father, as we like to refer to it, would be the life force energy, much like a sperm has to provide life to an egg. That's what God does. God provides the charge. God provides the energy. Sophia energies receive. They are the mother. That's like Mother Gaia. Receive the energy and then create life with them, right? So we have to have something that sends out energy, and we have to have something that receives it and then provides a sustenance for the life. So that's how it works. So yes, we are each an individual expression of the one true all, the one true God. The way it's been shown to me is God pulses out energy, Sophia receives it, but the energy that we are provided with is what is our soul, essentially. And as we're here, we're constantly learning, right? Earth school, or maybe if you're in Pleiadian, it's Pleiadian school. Depending on where you are, you're constantly going through a series of expansive experiences, right? Breakups, loves, whatever. On other planets, it's something different. Maybe they're doing science stuff, whatever it is. But we're each all absorbing this information and expanding and expanding. And then when we pass away, we return back. the energy of what we learn. And then that's how God continues to grow and grow and grow. That is how God's source grows. When we talk about the beings who are dark ones, they don't want to die. They want to maintain control over their consciousness and transfer their consciousness from one body to another. And there are, in fact, beings who do that. That's all questionable. That gets into a little bit of a different topic, but it is actually possible. And that's basically what we are not wanting to do. That's when we start talking about the transhumanism stuff, right? So God is within us. We all have psychic powers. We're basically just an antenna. That's all you are. You're an antenna. And then she asks about the inner voice or intuition. There's two things. There's your ego and there's your intuition. And that's why getting this programming out of your mind, all of the stuff that you might have really been programmed to do, about working a job even though you don't like it, staying married even though you're not happy, whatever it is for you, these are the programs that turn into your ego. These are your false identities that have to go. Maybe you think you're here to do one thing, but you're actually here to do another. And until you actually tune into your heart and check out of your mind, you're not really going to know. So that's the biggest difference. Your inner voice is always coming from God. Your ego is always coming from your programming. And the very work that we're doing right now, when we talk about this, the shadow work and all of this, what we're talking about is deprogramming the ego so that you can only hear your inner voice. So there's the answer to that one. If we're becoming more light, why does the body feel so heavy at times? Well, the body has to absorb the light. The light is knowledge. It's quite literally our light codes. Think about when your computer, you put a new software system on your computer and it has to absorb it and then it has to go through its process to run it, right? Your body does the same thing. Your nervous system absorbs the light codes from the sun, the photons, the protons, the neutrons, the celestions, all these tons that they've named, basically are God source energy. And what's happening is your nervous system absorbs it into your body, and then it has to work it itself into your structure. As it's doing that, it goes through the process I was talking about earlier, which is the rapid regeneration process, which is where your cells begin to regenerate at a rapid rate. But as your cells begin to regenerate, when they absorb those new light codes, they expand. And this is why water is so important. And what happens is your cells begin to expand. They absorb these light codes and they expand and expand because they know they have to get rid of what no longer serves them. So you're going to gain weight and you're going to feel heavy and you're going to feel bloated. And you're going to feel kind of like you ate too much salt the night before. And then you might go through that phase for a couple of days and then they shrink down and then you go back to your normal size. And this is why people, as we go through this ascension process, gain and lose weight so much. I remember hearing years ago, and it's so true, we need to have things in our closet that allow us to have like a 4 size differential, right? Like for me, I have anywhere from a size 4 up to a size 10. And I sometimes will go through all of those clothes within a month just because my body blows up like a blowfish and then it comes right back down again. Women are kind of used to this, but men not so much. But even for women, it's going to be at a more excessive rate right now. So that's why you feel heavy, because you're absorbing these light codes. Your body has to retain the water, which is also plasma, which is also source, in order to detoxify itself. And while it's getting rid of its toxins, that's when you go through your emotional purge. That's when you have all sorts of stuff come up. And that's when the real fun is too. And then you go back down to your normal size. And then you have all sorts of new knowings after it's all done. I would like to know more about the communities of the future, how we all will end up creating little groups of people with the same frequency, any tips or insights on how to start them, and what will it look like? So that's a great question. So yes, we are the future I have seen, which is absolutely beautiful. And there's another question here about the future too. I think, oh, it's the very next one. So this will do it. This is a twofer. The future that I have seen, basically money is used for, buying what you want. Maybe you want a new outfit or you want to do something that you don't necessarily need. That's what money could be used for. But for the most part, it's interactive and just helping one another. Everything is provided for us, right? We still have an infrastructure, and that's why we have to pay for what we want, and that would help pay for things that we need to build together. But for the most part, it's about living in co-collaborative communities where we're sharing stuff, we're sharing resources. And what that's going to look like is the more you align with your frequency. So she asked specifically, how do I find people of my frequency. You have to be in your frequency first. And that's what we're in the process of all doing. We have to be living in our true authenticity. That's when we're able to be in our true frequency. And it's interesting, if you really look at the people who are on social media who have like the biggest numbers, and I'm talking about the people where you feel something good stir in your heart when you listen to them. I like Blue of New Earth, Matthias D. Stefano, like people like this. When you listen to them talk, they're just who they are. There's no question. It's not like they're, trying to do this, they're just being who they are. That's being in your authenticity, and their numbers are climbing. People are drawn to them. You might even find that you are drawn to people who are in your, sorry, it's just distracted me. You might find that you are drawing people to you who are like-minded at this time. And that's really what it's all about. So just keep focusing on being you, taking off all of those masks, taking off all of those masks. The more you take off all of those masks, the more you're going to be in alignment with your true frequency. And that's when the people who are of that same frequency are going to find you. You're not even going to have to look for them. You're just going to connect somehow, even if they're on the other side of the world. And then you might have to figure out how you're going to get together physically, but it will happen. And what will happen is once people who are in alignment with a similar frequency all come to, or like-minded come together, you'll begin to, well, first of all, you'll have the same ideas. I just met some folks like this just recently, my friend Heather, who's on here, and another friend Taylor. We hop on the phone, it's like, we've all been having the same ideas for years, but we just met each other. I'm like, how can you have the same download? But they do, they have the same downloads, they have the same channeled information. And that's how it works, right? You're going to just organically find people who are in your frequency the more you are in your frequency, because frequency is sound waves. Sound waves attract one another or they repel one another. So you'll find somebody who you're attracted to, or you'll find people that you repel from. Right now, many of us are still going through a phase where we are attracting people that we have a karmic attachment to. And that simply means that you're restoring your own balance, because that's what karma is. Karma is all about balance. Karma is not about they did this to me, so something's going to happen to them. That's not karma. That's the old 3D version of karma. Karma is about how we have to teach each other. And this is part of this reality where we're all each other's teachers until we eventually take off all of the masks. So every time you go through something and you find yourself in a difficult experience, maybe you're, having a best friend or something and you guys are just not really getting along so well, that's karma teaching you guys what it is you each need to know about each other. We're all going through this to some degree. I know in my own personal life, I'm still going through this in some ways. And the more I learn about myself, instead of saying, oh, he did this or she did this, the more I take my own ownership back and I say, oh, what did I need to learn here? Because everything's reflecting back to us. The more we get into our authentic frequency, and again, that's when we begin to attract the groups of people that we're going to be with. And the communities of the future, I mean, there is no specific way. I will tell you that what I have seen, and this is in the far future, where there's the way we build things, it has to do with the meridian, the ley lines of the earth. So basically we're going to be just off of the ley lines of the earth, because the ley lines are where the energies run. And right now, I mean, people are just everywhere. Those who know about energy and how things really work, they specifically put churches over ley lines, and they built not so good things over other ley lines for the specific reason of controlling the grid. We're going to be taking that grid back the more we learn about that kind of stuff. So I would encourage you to look into ley lines. There's a gentleman on YouTube, I think his name is Rory something. Let me just grab it. Rory Duff. This is the name of the book. You can get this on Amazon. So I would encourage each of you to start learning about ley lines. There are male, feminine, female, and dragon ley lines. And these are literally the meridians of the world. And Rochelle, you live on a ley line convergence. Yeah, me too, in Asheville. It's like the dragon lines, like, oh, it's not always pleasant because the energies are so heightened. But ley lines are going to be key, and we're going to be building just off of the ley lines because we're not really supposed to be directly on them. Ley lines are actually how animals, like if you ever watch nature has its own specific patterns, like those of you who are familiar with deer or elk or that kind of thing, they always run in the same migrational patterns because they're actually running on the ley lines. They know instinctively where to go. Birds follow ley lines. Nature always follows ley lines, and that's what we need to get back to. So I would encourage you to learn about ley lines, learn about what it is, or know what it is you want to create, and then find what ley lines are best there to support what it is that you're going to co-collaborate with the people who are going to be most authentically in alignment with you. And that way we're not basically, like I want to say, robbing nature of its purity when we're co-collaborating and living in the way we need to be with the ley lines, which is how the ancient ones lived. So we're going to be doing that. I do see houses, like not even houses, but very high, almost like these structures that are very high. These buildings are very, very high up in the air, like 200 feet or so up in the air, pretty much kind of round. So that way we're not disrupting the trees. We're above nature. So this is a couple hundred years into the future. So this isn't going to be likely in most of our lifetimes. It's possible, right? Who knows? But that is in the way future. In the near future, what I see is people slowly coming together, migrating to one another. We're going to see the political infrastructures that govern all of us and keep us segregated begin to fall apart, in which case we will come together with people who are of our likeness and frequency, and we will begin to build establishments based on what we want. So we're going to have a little bit of a falling apart before we build back up together. And it might, it's going to look weird because there's still going to be stuff playing out, let's just say in DC. I don't know if it's going to be there specifically, but the DC politics, or if you're in another country, the politics that govern your country are going to be playing out. But it's like the rest of us are going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be over here doing my thing. And we're going to be finding loopholes more and more and more outside of systems. Like I know people who are in businesses now are looking into creating trusts for their businesses and just finding outside parameter ideas so that you can build your stuff outside of the systems. Because what's going to happen is, say the systems are here, right? Like everything we have that we don't like is here. What's happening is as we begin to build what we're here to build, and it's a slow process, but we're going to be building it. It's happening now in some ways. Everything here is going to fall, and then there's going to reach this tipping point, and then this is going to continue to fall. But remember, the people who want this, some people call them the NPCs, some people call them, soulless or whatever you want to call them. First of all, they're not. They're just so deeply programmed that they're likely going to live out that way of being in this lifetime, and that is their role to play. And the reason why is because, think about it, if you don't have a bad guy in a story, you've got nothing to overcome. If all of us were here, just, okay, this is great, let's build what we want, what would we be doing? We're here to basically overcome and face and change history. And so if we didn't have our buttons being pushed by these people who want to keep this reality the way it is, it wouldn't give us that fire. It wouldn't give us that drive to continue to push forward every day. And that's their role to play in it. So you can look at them as soulless, or you can look at them as that's their part to play by God. Because the truth is, and I'll just say it, even clones have souls. And yes, there are clones. And even clones have souls because there's energy that gets formed within the zinc spark of their very creation. So yes, everything has a soul, but some souls have a specific role to play. You would probably be surprised to know that some of the most awful people from our history are probably some of the highest angels, and it's their role to play the bad guy in the story, to create the tipping point, to propel everything forward into the good, into the light, because from the light is born darkness, and from the darkness is born light. And this is how all of existence works in all of the multiple galaxies and universes. Kundalini awakening. Is a Kundalini awakening the same as ascension? How do we work through? Yes and no, because here's the thing. Ascension is a term that has been coined through the Bible and other means as well. But what does ascend mean? Ascend means to go up, just like a plane, it goes up. We are ascending in consciousness. What is consciousness? Consciousness is your soul. Consciousness is your ability to have a deeper and a more expanded awareness of what is happening around you. And that all has to do with energy. What is the Kundalini? Kundalini is the energy. What is energy? Energy is consciousness. It's all the same thing. What Kundalini is when when the energies get activated inside of you, primarily in your root chakra area, when in your sacral chakra area, which is, some people will say that's where the seat of your soul is. It really depends on what perspective you're coming from. But when that energy gets activated, what has to happen in order to activate your Christed consciousness? So this is all connected. That energy has to go up. So essentially, the Kundalini is ascending. And again, guys, we have to remember these are all words that were given to energy by humans. So we have different words because we have people coming from different cultures, which is a beautiful thing at this point, but it creates confusion and discrepancy when we're actually talking about the same thing. We're talking about going up in consciousness. So the Kundalini, as referenced here, is the energy. I call it energy. Some people can call it, you can call it Reiki, whatever you want to call it. It's energy. And it's got to rise up through your spine. Think about your spine, the 33 vertebra, as having this energy weave in and out of it all the way up. And what is it doing? It's working its way through your nervous system. So exactly what I was talking about earlier, how it activates your nervous system, and specifically at your spine, because the nervous system at your spine, what does that do? It sends out the messages to every other part of your body, right? If you have a broken back in this area, then you're probably not going to be able to use the lower half of your body. So the nervous system is key. That is your wiring for your soul. That is how your soul communicates to your body. So what happens is the Kundalini rises up through your spine, and then it hits the limbic brain system. And this is where a lot of people really get caught up, because the limbic brain system, AKA the reptilian portion of the brain, or the medulla oblongata, depending on which text you look to and what portion of the brain you're exactly looking at, houses what we know as the reptilian brain. That's what it's nicknamed as. That is where we have our fear, flight, fright, the 4 Fs, the fight, flight, freeze stuff. That's where we have that response. That's where we get tripped up. That's where we can get triggered. That is the part of you that is the most programmed. The brainstem right here, that is the part of us that goes into that, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do about this. What's going on? I need to go get help, or I need to do something. And then you go into the fight, flight. I can never say those words. The 4 Fs. And when you go into that, then you can't think clearly. So this is what we're all working through right now. When you get those deep emotions, first of all, every emotion that is considered negative, thank you, Rochelle. Thank you. Every emotion that is considered negative is a subcategory of fear. Fear is what causes anger, depression, grief, sadness, frustration, all of it. There's love and there's fear. Those are the only two true energies in motion, or emotions, that even exist here. As humans, we have been conditioned and programmed to get hooked on the fear. And so that is what we're working our way out of right now. And that is why we go through these spells with these solar flares and the planetary alignments right now, the solar flares are intensifying the energies coming from the planetary alignments, which are strategically planned by the divine to make things happen that they want to happen, or he or she wants to happen. It's all happening with divine timing, in the sense that we're being forced to like flush our pipes, meaning you might have something happen to you this month that causes you to be really worried. Maybe you're really worried about how you're going to pay your bills. Maybe this month you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. You got to go to the pawn shop. You got to figure stuff out. And it's like, oh, this is freaking hell. But then the next month you're like, yeah, you know what? It's a little scary, but I got through last month, so this month's not so bad. So every month it's a little less intense. Every month it's literally a little less intense. You're coming out of a bad relationship, a bad divorce. Maybe you had to move across the country and you're working through lots of emotions. Every month, if you notice, it gets a little less intense, or maybe it shows itself up in slightly a different way, right? But that's what's happening, is these programming that's stuck in your brainstem, as the Kundalini is rising, as the energy is rising into your brain, is doing its job of basically working its way out. It's like flushing the pipes of your house being your body. As that happens, the energy then rises into the brain more so. And then this gets into which is the next actual portion, the next evolutionary step in humankind, is to actually learn manifestation. And I have seen where at some point, and again, probably not in our lifetimes, although there are some people, there is one man who I did read was able to do this in his lifetime. His name is Daskoulos, I think, Daskkalos. He was a Greek man who's passed away now. but he was actually able to manifest in his own hand. He would say, I want an apple. And he was able to consciously create an apple into his hand. He was able to pull people's atomic structure apart and do surgery. I don't know how true this is. I'm just beginning to learn about this myself, but I find it fascinating because we are moving into that next segment of life as a species. That is the true nature of humans. We are creator beings. That's why I always call you guys, you're a creator, you're your own creator. We are going to learn how to become creator beings so that we can actually manifest stuff into the physical. But we have to get over our fear. We have to learn how to stay in love, and we have to learn how to manifest with basic energy at this point, which is what we're doing together. So all of that said, when the energy rises up into the amygdala or the reptilian portion of the brain, you work through your stuff, and then the energy activates the other brain hemispheres, your pituitary, your pineal, your hippocampus, all of that. That is when your true manifestation or your Christed consciousness, that is the Ark of the Covenant. That is where the true divine union happens internally for you. And when that happens, that is when your external reality begins to shift. So we are all doing that, obviously at different paces and spaces right now. And that's what this entire process is about. But that's ultimately when we talk about Kundalini rising, that's what we're talking about. And that is simultaneously the same as ascension, because when we ascend, we go up in consciousness. So it's really all the same thing. Next question is, why do I have negative thoughts sometimes during manifestation? Because of exactly what I just said, where as these energies come in that we're receiving, hit our limbic portion of our brain, whatever we've been programmed to believe, the shame, the unworthiness, all of this, whatever that is for us, that's going to be tripped up. It's like tripping a wire. It's conditioning. It's a program. It's no different than any other program in our lifetime where, maybe somebody says something to you and it triggers you to have an emotion. The program is no different than somebody says that this is called a coffee. That's a program. Who said this is a coffee? Who gave it the name of a coffee? I mean, I don't know, I like it, but it doesn't mean it has to be called a coffee. It can be called brown water and it would still taste the same. But the program is somebody named it a coffee. So all of the programs that no longer serve where humanity is going is coming up right now for review. And that includes your personal programs. And that is why you have negative emotions, thoughts, and just basically crap come up for you. When I started my journey, how long did it take for me to feel steady with it? This is a great question. I'll be honest with you, I'm still working to feel steady with it. Rochelle can tell you because we're friends and we're sisters. And my new friend Heather can tell you we just met like a few weeks ago, but we've quickly connected, and it's a process. I would say in 2020, like I said earlier in the call, when I learned about the true history of humanity and what goes on and all of that, I was devastated. It broke me. I wanted to kill myself. And that's why I say have space and grace for people out there as they're learning this stuff, because while we're on the other side of it and we know it, how it all works, we've also to some degree been emotionally deconditioned to the pain of what it was like to learn it. So when I went through that process, it was extremely painful. And then I went through in 2022, one day I literally woke up and I had a beautiful home. I had a 3-story home. I owned 6 acres in Connecticut in the woods. It was beautiful. I had basically a lake in my backyard. And I had a friend I was living with, was like a partner at the time. And I just woke up one day and I just knew I was miserable. It was like I woke up and there was a button pressed in my head that said no more. And in fact, I remember calling Rochelle and being like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I can't live here anymore. I'm so miserable. I just have to leave. I will literally hop in my car and drive away if I didn't have my dogs to take care of and a house and responsibilities and all this other stuff. But I couldn't because I had the house and the responsibilities and all the stuff. So that was really the beginning of when I completely began to shift my life. And I think we all hit this at some point where, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a breakup or leaving a career or something, we go through that stuff where we have to undo everything that we did while we were a programmed individual. And that was my program. I came from a family where you settle down and you do the 9 to 5 and you have perfect dinners. I mean, I was that woman who put out a 3-course dinner every night at some point for my ex, if you can imagine, packed lunches, all of that kind of thing, was out on a tractor and running properties and just being perfect. I was miserable, miserable. I mean, there wasn't enough wine in the world who could solve my problems back in 2015 and 16. Um, because I knew something was deeper. I knew there was something more to life. And even then I had my abilities, but I hadn't yet connected with anybody else or knew the deeper truths of the world. I just had my own higher self, and I would be in the astral and do that kind of thing, but they hadn't yet showed me the deeper self, because your soul has to wait until you're ready. So once my life began to shift and I was ready, and then they started to show me the deeper truths. And I'm still figuring it out. Now it's 2024, 2 years later from when I sold my house. Now I'm living basically out of my truck. I take my stuff with me. I don't know where I'm going to be in 2 months. And that's my life. And I work and I focus on this. This is my mission. Am I happy? Yes, I'm much happier. Like I can literally just go sit at a park with a tree and read a book all day and I'm happy. And it's interesting because you would think that the person with the 3-story house and I had a beautiful, like I said, huge property, and I had everything that most people dream of. You think that you'd be happier then, but I wasn't. I'm happy now, like in my heart. Like I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go to a 5-star restaurant to be happy. I don't need a bottle of wine to be happy. I like to get out for my iced coffee every day because it's my little outing with my pup where I take him to the park in between. But I'm happy now without my relationship, by myself, not knowing where I'm going to be in a month or two, trusting the divine and knowing that there's something lighting up in my heart that's calling to me. So it's still a process, but what happens is you decondition your own programming, and then you begin to trust your own choices, and then things around you just kind of manifest, like this place that I'm living in. It's by God's good grace that I ended up here. This is a beautiful home that I'm in. It literally fell into my lap one day. Not joking. I said to God, where am I supposed to be next month? I don't know what's happening. Please give us some kind of sign. And the next day, a friend of mine, or sort of a friend, I would call her somebody who's an unawakened friend, who lives nearby. I just happened to go to dinner with her, and she's like, "Hey, Christina, one of my tenants in a house that I have needs to move urgently, and I have a vacant house that I would like to have somebody live in. Would you be interested in living there for a few months?" I'm like, sure. When can I move in? Next month. Perfect. So I moved into this house by chance. So my point is, when you align with your truth aligns with you, and things begin to show up on your path. But you've got to trust your process. And then from there, it's still an emotional process. I woke up today and I had all sorts of irritations that I had to work through this morning. But I know that's just stuff where I'm still working through hopping on a computer, sharing my voice, learning this darn tech stuff, because to me it's just a headache, but I also recognize that it's a tool that I'm supposed to use to get the messages out there. So I still have stuff that I'm working through. For me, I have activated my energy, and my body is pretty much clear. The only thing I really enjoy, like I say multiple times in this call now, is my coffee. But it's still a process, and it's going to be an ongoing process until we die, likely in this lifetime. That's how it's going to be for all of us. We are in Earth School until the day we die here. So the key is to use your school supplies and find a way to enjoy it as much as possible and connect with your heart. And the more you do that, the more your path will unfold for you. And I think we're going to end it there for these questions here anyway, because we're right at 7:30, and I want to see if there's any questions in the group chat, and then I want to close out the recording portion so that we can go into private community chat for anybody who wants to come on. And then if there's anybody here with a question who I didn't get to, please feel free to say, "You didn't get to my question," and I'll look. Does anybody in the group, anybody here now, did any questions come through, or does anybody want to ask a question before we close out the recorded portion? No? Okay. All right. So guys, to anybody watching this after the fact, I'm going to end it here on the recording portion, because I'm doing my best to keep it under 90 minutes. So I'm respectful of your time. I love you all. Thank you so much for joining. Wishing you all a beautiful July month. And remember, we are now in a time where things are really going to begin to shift. You're going to begin to see the manifestations of what you want. And you're also probably going to see things that you don't want happen. And it's important to remember that that's all part of the process. The dark and the light coexist, and it always will. We are here to hold the light. So just keep holding your light, trusting your process, connecting with your heart, doing the best that you can, and know that you're not alone in anything that you're going through. If you are interested in sessions, please feel free to reach out. And also Rochelle's information will be available in the outgoing email as well. So check her out if you're looking to look into your past life, connect with your past life. And if you need assistance with working through any blocks, please feel free to reach out to me. Transformational Shift session is the best one for that. Love to all of you guys. Have a beautiful month of July, and we'll talk to you soon. Can you hit the end?